Steak au poivre. Say it with me, steak au poivre. This beautiful and relatively simple dish has been a staple on fine dining menus for decades. For those of you looking to up your game, the recipe is a more interesting option at home than tossing fillets on the grill. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but every once in a while you should impress your guests. And hell, why not impress yourself? My inspiration for this recipe comes from each of the main attractions: the incredible prime beef, my love of all things casserole, and last but not least, the cheese. Kickapoo cheese is a semi-hard, raw cow's milk cheese reminiscent of mild, creamy aged Parmesan. The fresh buttery flavors and a sharper finish are the ideal complement to the potatoes, which I'll be preparing in this style of risotto. Now, when I say risotto, everybody thinks rice. In this case, I'm referring to the method for risotto, which will coax the starch from the potato and create a creamy mouthfeel, risotto style. The steak I selected for this dish had to be bold enough to pair with such a fine cheese and be a formidable companion to the delicious potato creation, so I chose a USDA prime grade strip loin, beautifully marbled, extraordinary, flavorful, and these steaks have been cut and trimmed to a perfect 12-ounce portion. So without further ado, let's get cooking. Steak au poivre with Kickapoo potatoes. Step 1. In a high-sided 2-quart pan, add half of the butter and heat on medium heat until melted and sizzling but not brown. Step 2. Add potato, onion, and garlic to the pan and stir to coat with butter. Step 3. Season lightly with kosher salt and bring heat to low. Step 4. Add wine to pan and raise heat to a simmer. Simmer until wine is absorbed by potato while stirring constantly. This will take only 1 to 2 minutes. Step 5. Over low to medium heat, add 1 quart of the chicken broth to the pan and simmer while stirring constantly until broth is absorbed by potatoes. This will draw out the starch from the potato as you stir and cook it, which will result in a creamy coating on the potatoes when the dish is complete. Step 6. Add the second quart of broth and proceed as with the first half, stirring constantly until broth is almost completely absorbed by potatoes. Constantly stir or starch will not develop. If potatoes are not tender by the time the chicken broth is absorbed, simply add up to 2 cups of hot water, a quarter cup at a time. Continue stirring gently until desired texture is reached. The final texture should be creamy and somewhat loose, 10 to 12 minutes. Step 7. Remove from heat and stir in butter and cheese until melted. Step 8. Adjust seasoning to taste with salt and pepper and reserve warm and covered while steaks are prepared. Step 9. By letting the potatoes rest for 10 minutes while preparing steaks, the potatoes will fully absorb the remaining liquid, which will result in a creamy and silky mouthfeel. Stir gently before serving to bring the potato dish together. Step 10. Remove steaks from the package and dry on paper towel. Step 11. Crush or grind peppercorns until coarse. The best way to crush the peppercorns is with the bottom of a small sauté pan in a rocking motion over the peppercorns. This can also be done by pulsing in a spice or coffee grinder. Step 12. Season both sides of the steaks with smoked sea salt. Step 13. Press seasoned steaks into coarse black pepper to crust both sides. Step 14. In a heavy bottom pan, add canola oil. Step 15. Heat pan on high heat until very hot and about to smoke. Step 16. Reduce heat to medium-high and add steaks to pan to sear, without moving steaks for 2 minutes. Turn steaks over and reduce heat to medium-high and cook for an additional 2 minutes. This will yield a rare steak. For medium rare and up, lower heat to medium low and cook an additional minute per side for each graduated temperature desired. Step 17. Remove steaks from the pan and allow them to rest on a shallow pan or cooling rack in a warm oven, 175 degrees, for 5 minutes. Step 18. Add potatoes to the plate. Step 19. Remove steaks from the oven, slice and serve over Kickapoo potatoes. Remember to stir potato before topping with steaks. And now, bon appetit!